Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk about my very first semester at Catalyst in Berlin.
Pause! Let me stop you right there. If you haven't already watched the first week at Catalyst vlog, then go right now, check it out, leave it a big thumbs up, like and subscribe. Okay, now we can get back to this video.
I will first go through how it went with the classes, the assignments, the tutors, and the classmates. Then get into the actual aspect of living in Berlin, the social life, and my personal situation, and so on. So this first semester went pretty decent and honestly flew by. I guess time flies when you're having fun. The first weeks we had inductions to all the different tech that the uni provides, such as camera, lights, boom pole. It was the first time that I was exposed to some of that equipment, and I'll have to say that I learned so much. And you know, even in the moment when you're in class, you don't really realize how much you've learned until after, when you compare to how you started. And I can see a lot of changes in myself as well. Having said that, I might not have learned a lot, but still enough to recognize it, because I did hear that as the years go by you go deeper and deeper into all the aspects of filmmaking. So this year we're barely scratching the surface, but experience wise we definitely did a lot. Although it was a slow start, it got busy and stressful exponentially. The year started mid-September and our first assignment was due in October. It was a personal report on writing the microfilm scripts, which is a short film of 3.5 minutes. You had to do some research and connect it to your script or to the ideas, point out the cinematography and the composition and whatnot. The only requirement was for it to be non-dialogue, which can obviously make it a bit difficult, but despite the challenge, it still went pretty smoothly, I would say. A lot of people were able to convey this story. I tried to adapt Murakami's short story called The Year of Spaghetti. It turned out quite different. Am I pleased with the result? I'd say yeah, but would I do anything differently next time? 100%. But still very worth it. It was the first time that I had to work with an actual team. And the way it goes is like this. Every week you partake in one microfilm. Since we're 14 people in the class, I think we shot 2 to 3 microfilms a week. And every week you have a different role. From director, that's where you shoot your own film that week, to DOP, where you make a shot list and you actually get to hold the camera and film. Then there's the PMAD role, where you break down the script, you create a schedule based on the shot list, you send the call sheets out, and you slate. I think I was pretty good at PMAD. Obviously, it depends on how much work the director gives you. Then there's sound, which is where you literally record the sound on set. I think it might be one of the chillest jobs, and it can be pretty fun, but when I was sound, it was all exterior scenes, so we were outside freezing cold. Although it was fun, it was definitely hard labor, and the sound didn't even turn out that great. And the final role is editor. I had the most fun being editor, and I also think maybe I could perform best as that for these short films. The first edit was a bit difficult because the footage was inconsistent when it comes to the quality of the image, but I learned how to color grade, and recently I re-edited it and I think that it looks a lot better, especially going back to it after a month. It's very refreshing. So what's great about this system is that you get to do a bit of everything, and it pushes you to learn how to collaborate with all sorts of people, also pushes your own boundaries and grows you as a person. Trying all these roles out helps you identify where you should improve, what you can change, what doesn't work, etc. I'll definitely say for now, from all this process, the most enjoyable one was to edit. When it was my week to shoot, being director and talking and communicating to the actors, that's where I felt my contribution the most. I definitely feel more comfortable describing my vision, my ideas, or how I see certain characters in words better. So talking to the actors felt very comfortable, maybe because it was who the actors were. I had Adam and May, thank you so much guys. But talking to them, it felt very freeing, and it felt like every time I said something they would just understand, or try to also have their own input in it. So it felt easier to communicate to them than it was for me to communicate to my team when it came to the technical aspect of things. I think one of the most logical explanations for this is simply because I never had a team. When it comes to anything in life, I'm used to doing it by myself without a team, and because I know that whatever it is I can do by myself, it stops me from actually delegating the work and giving it to someone else. So I've already said this in class too, I think I really need to start trusting my team and give them the work that they need to do and have them do it, because they're supposed to do it, you know? Other than this, I don't really have much to say about microfilms. It was pretty fun, stressful because you don't have enough time to process all of it. You shoot on Friday and Saturday. It's due by Wednesday night. Someone needs to do the music, the edit, the color grading, and Thursday you get your first feedback, which is a very short time frame. But I guess it's good because Mondays we didn't have class. But still, like, the way it goes is very fast and you don't even realize the time going by, and there's so much to do and it just accumulates, etc. Like, it gets very, very tiring. And by the last week, everyone was already so dead that it was so difficult to think, okay, like, we've got one more. And throughout the week, we still had classes. At the start of the year, we had editing, where we learned how to use Premiere Pro, but everyone uses DaVinci. Then screenwriting, which is pretty self-explanatory. Cinematography, where we talk about cameras, lights, and practice. Production management, which is all about the pre-production. That's the main focus when it comes to scheduling and budgeting. It's just the paperwork and business side of things. Then we had development. I'm not sure what the purpose of having development class exactly was. It was more of like a reflective class where we all like communicate to one another. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know what else to say. And then frame by frame, where we would watch clips, discuss, and look at the cinematography. We also used to have workshops on Fridays, either for sound or intimacy, but then as soon as the microfilm started, we didn't have class on Fridays because that was strictly for shoot, so no class. Then frame by frame switched to roundtable feedback, where we're in the cinema room. We watch the films that were shot that week and give each other feedback. We discuss it as a means to improve, comment, and give constructive criticism. And editing class switched to directing actors to learn how to communicate clearly and effectively. So as the microfilms were coming to an end and the Christmas break was right around the corner, we had to start thinking about the kilofilm script. The kilofilm is going to be a short film for about 5.5 minutes this time, with intentional dialogue. It is so exciting and I'm so ready for this one, simply because my script is I'm going to talk about it in a different video, so stay tuned. We did have a list of prompts to choose from. I'm going to read them out. How can blocking and mise en scène communicate knowledge or secrecy in a sci-fi film? How can an unfunny dark moment serve the humor in a comedy? What would it look and sound like to come of age in a different time or place? What does ancient mythological horror reveal about our contemporary truths? How can we use shot composition to show loneliness on screen in a musical? How can we bring across a strong political or societal statement through the devices of cinematography in an action film? I will tell you what I picked later on. As for the assignments, so far we only had one. It was that one written assignment, and now what's left is the bulk of all the assignments. We have 5 submissions until the 7th of January. I'm planning to work on all of them the first week of the break, which is then this week. First of all, video displaying the actions and creative choices that you've done as a DOP, then an editor video showing the process of editing, a creative report on how it went as you directed your microfilm. You can mention your kilofilm scripts as well, the influences and whatnot. I think it's something along those lines. Then your actual kilofilm script and your microfilm video. It's a lot, but it's very doable. And to be fair, all of these assignments are pretty fun to do. Sometimes I do wish that this major required you to sit down in a room and study a bit, not have to do teamwork all the time, but it also does teach you great skills on communicating, collaboration. So it is good, even though sometimes it can become a little bit unbearable. But speaking of studying and the assignments, the tutors, we have very one-to-one relationships with them, more so than being our teacher or professor. They're also our companions, but obviously with a line of respect and boundaries. But it is much easier to get to know them and talk to them, get advice, because all of them either already have their own feature films or met so many different people. They have so many stories to share on what the film industry is like in real time, which is very helpful for aspiring filmmakers. Almost like the opposite of the saying that goes, those who can't do teach, or at least I think, because some of our teachers are still very active in their personal work life. They're going to festivals, going to shoot films. Like I said, it's very good to learn from them. Now, this is a very long story because a lot of people who go to Catalyst really fit to the Berlin demographic, which is not necessarily a bad thing, don't get me wrong. It's just a different style. I appreciate most of it. Some might be too abstract. For film production students, all in all, it's pretty chill. As long as you collaborate with the people that you get along with well. Not too well, but like you can get through work together. It is true that everyone has a completely different vibe and style, very different backgrounds. We are all international. I was worried at first because I thought there was no way I was gonna find someone that I can connect with, especially after a year of finance bros switching to Berlin artsy film school people. It was almost like a culture shock to me because I've never been surrounded by this many creative people. But by the end of the semester, I found my group of people here. So I'm very thankful for that. And I guess it would take time anywhere to adapt and fit into the social frame there. And like I said, this semester just flew by and now the classes are switching around. I'm not too excited about that, but I know some of the people who are going to be in my class next year and they're giving me hope that it'll be okay. We're going to be shooting our kilo films, then pitching for mega films, writing academic research essay. Like, there are lots of great things to look forward to. And in a way, it is good that the classes are switching around because you get to meet more people in the end. And it's always a great opportunity to expand your network. Again, like push you to work with people that you wouldn't necessarily work with. That eventually leads you to being pleasantly surprised. Berlin is a great city. I didn't get to enjoy as much the past couple months because I am homeless. So every weekend I had to come back home and I stayed at family and friends there. But again, I had to go back and forth because all of my clothes and belongings are here at my parents' in Weimar. So I wasn't there on weekends and couldn't really socialize outside of uni. But while we were shooting the microfilms, that's where we all had to go to different locations and spend more time together outside of the uni context. Now, when it comes to rent, groceries, and the prices, I think rent can vary from 500 to 1,000 euros. It obviously depends on where, how close to the city, and also like there are so many students here, so it's very difficult to find a home. And this is what commonly happens is after a few months, people find each other and they choose to live together because the rent becomes cheaper. Living costs, it might be a bit expensive, but I think like in Germany, there are so many different alternatives when it comes to where you can shop. So overall, I think with rent, you could end up spending around 1,000, 1,500 a month. It completely depends on how comfortable you want to live. It could obviously go above and below as well. But I personally am so excited to finally be moving to Berlin in New Year's. It's gonna make a lot of things much easier. First thing, I'll actually be able to have my clothes and my belongings, so I won't have to leave every weekend, and that's gonna allow me to have a lot more freedom. So now, speaking of my personal situation, I already mentioned my housing situation, which is now sorted out. So I'm so excited to move, for real, like decorate, finally have a home, a place of my own. Also, I'm excited to be able to socialize more often because I'll be there. I can actually get to, being able to explore the city a bit more and go out more often. Aside from my housing situation, my recent side hustle has been cutting people's hair from Catalyst. So make sure to hit up Celine's Saloon if you need a new haircut. Special thanks to the people that have been supporting me in this journey. Now that I think about it, it does allow me to expand my social circle a bit more and make a little money on the side because I am charging now. Lastly, about whether or not I've been keeping up with my goals, I would say yes. The main one, without a doubt, would be actually being able to study film, which has been a dream of mine ever since I was young. So actually coming to this place and doing that is very freeing. I want to continue with YouTube, so I've been trying that on the side, as well as Turkish barber lifestyle. I do think I would want to actually get into the life of Berlin more now that I can properly assimilate to the city. And something I've realized, which is a bit more serious now, I don't bring a lot of value to the class. Not yet. Maybe creativity and different ideas, but nothing that I see as too valuable. So I decided that if I chose this path of film, I should go all in. So this Christmas break, I want to expand my film knowledge because we gotta lock in for real. From in-class performances to working with others, you need to provide your own talent or knowledge. For example, Lucas is great with camera work and color grading. Mia's got so much experience when it comes to student films. Duru with composing music, etc. So many different personalities that bring out different values and capabilities to the table. For me, this is the time to expand your knowledge and find what you can bring to the table, which is why I feel very inspired by some of my classmates and I want to actually improve. From being a friend, a teammate, to a great filmmaker. Now, truth be told, when it comes to different aspects aspects of filmmaking. I'm interested in potentially writing. With the microfilms, I've realized that editing was like the most enjoyable role to have for me. But I want to improve my skills all throughout, including analytical skills, being able to communicate different ideas and identify techniques and ways directly and clearly. And because I've realized that I need to improve on that, you know, like if I watch someone's film, I want to be able to give good constructive feedback. And that's about it. So after this long introduction of my realizations, I want to give you guys a little sneak peek to what my plan is for this Christmas break. I want to watch films and learn how to analyze them, or at least develop an opinion on it. I decided it'd be best to go out it country by country because I also want to expand my general knowledge on different styles and cultures in film. So I figured it'd be best to focus on one country per week, watch 2 films a day, write about them, and post them on my personal website, which you can currently access. It's still in the works, but we're getting there. It's still being finalized. I will also be dropping a video once a week after having explored that country's films. I am very excited about this project because it will expand my knowledge, my thinking skills, overall being able to provide a meaningful opinion. I think it's gonna be great because I'm gonna be able to practice writing analytically a bit more. I hope that when time comes and people ask for, can you give me some feedback watching this film, etc., that I can actually give something of value to them. Yeah, because I think in class, either I just blank or I don't know how to communicate my ideas clearly, which is very upsetting. So I'm trying to fix that, and I'm all about self-improvement. So I'm trying to, you know, first become better at thinking and communicating. And yes, guys, I am so thankful for this experience. I learned so much, but also realized a lot about myself. And also, I know there's so much more to learn, so I just need to get on it. And I'm looking very forward to it. I want to improve. I want to know more and truly immerse myself into this. If you are interested in Catalyst, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Lastly, thank you to the OG FB25C class. It was amazing to have this semester with you. With all these ups and downs, I'm still very happy to have met you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that this helped. This was just a way for me to not only recap this first semester, and also give you guys an idea of what studying at Catalyst is like.